While today's ceremonies will take place with military precision, they also carry a lot of symbolism. So I want to bring in ABC Royals contributor Omid Scobie for a little more context on that. Omid, the Queen served as both head of the family and also head of state, and in many ways today will reflect that as the family hands her coffin over to the state in a way. Can you walk us through that?
Well, that's exactly that. In fact, many of us journalists had briefing from the palace this morning that pointed out the poignancy of that very moment. Of course, last night was that very private moment at Buckingham Palace where we saw all the family members, the children, the grandchildren, all gathering to sort of pay their final respects before, of course, today becomes that very public moment, that quiet procession through London. I don't think you'll ever hear London as quiet as it will be today. I've heard that even Heathrow Airport, the surrounding airports, have cancelled all flights to keep the city as silent and calm as possible.
I know the Queen is also the head of the armed services here. We're going to see soldiers, other members of the armed services accompanying her throughout this procession and as she lies in state as well. But she was also head of the church, and that's also going to play a central role during the service that we see today and, of course, during the state funeral we see on Monday.
Yeah, there's an importance for her role, not just as head of state, but head of the armed forces, head of the Church of England, and as we saw before, head of Church of Scotland, to all be represented throughout the moments that we see. Of course, God and faith meant a lot to the Queen, so I think to be surrounded by prayer, to be surrounded by thoughts in God's name, are incredibly important. And of course we'll see that at the service at Westminster Hall and of course over the days ahead. Last night we saw her flown over, not just with Princess Anne, but the Dean of the Chapel in Scotland as well. So I think it's been really important to make sure all of these moments are reflected for the family members. It's going to be difficult, but I think for all of them who all believe in God, I think that's going to be the thing that keeps them strong over the days ahead.
And we now know that the last time we saw the Queen publicly at Buckingham Palace was at her Jubilee in June. And it turns out that wave from the balcony was really a wave goodbye. How significant do you think it will be to see the Queen's coffin leave Buckingham Palace for the last time today?
Yeah, I won't lie, I had goosebumps last night as we saw the Queen returning to the residence that we know her for, Buckingham Palace. That is the Queen's home when you think of her around the world. I was at the Jubilee and I remember that balcony moment, that final balcony moment, and I remember it feeling like a send-off of sorts. We, of course, didn't know anything about the state of her health down to specifics, but we did know that it was in decline. And we also knew that she had struggled to meet some of those engagements, those commitments throughout the Jubilee. So there was a sense when she went back to Balmoral that she would be resting and that those public moments had sort of come to an end. So seeing her return last night and, of course, today making that final exit from Buckingham Palace, I think will mean a lot to the people watching, specifically the family.
It sure will. All right, Omid Scobie, thank you for that.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.